Stop right there. Do not scroll past this message. I am not suggesting you stay. I am issuing a direct, uncompromising warning. What you are about to hear is not a coincidence, a random glitch, or a trick of the algorithm. Heaven has intercepted your feed because God has a direct, urgent message for you today, right at this very second, about the exact situation that has been tearing your heart apart. Chosen one, listen to me very carefully. You have been carrying an unimaginably heavy burden. You are physically, mentally, and spiritually exhausted. I know you are at your absolute breaking point. You have been sitting in the quiet, replaying conversations in your mind, thinking about walking away from someone, a specific person who has been weighing heavily on your soul. You have been looking at the silence, feeling the undeniable distance, and rationalizing that perhaps it is finally time to let them go. You are desperately trying to convince yourself that the crushing pain you feel is the ultimate sign that this chapter is over and that the bond is broken beyond repair. Do not dare to give up on that person. Not yet. Not today. Not when you are standing on the very edge of a monumental shift that heaven has been meticulously orchestrating behind the scenes. I need you to freeze and lock your focus on this screen, because the enemy has been working overtime to distort your reality. He has been whispering in your ear, twisting your severe exhaustion into a false sense of closure. He wants you to believe that the connection is entirely severed, that the long silence is a permanent ending, and that the tears you have shed were for a lost cause. He is trying to force you to abandon your divine post before the promised reinforcements can arrive. But I am here to tell you that this is a lie. A calculated, malicious lie designed to strip you of a divine assignment just moments before the breakthrough physically manifests in your life. If you scroll away now, you are handing the enemy the exact victory he has been plotting for months. You will blindly walk away from a spiritual investment that is about to yield its greatest return. I am warning you, do not leave this video. God has given me 7 specific revelations, 7 critical warnings that you must hear to understand why this battle has been so relentlessly difficult for you. If you exit before the final warning is revealed, you will completely miss the magnitude of why God is fighting so intensely to keep this bond alive. You will remain blind to the miracle that is already in motion beneath the surface. This is not about your fleeting emotions. This is about a kingdom assignment that you simply cannot afford to abandon. You were guided to this exact moment because you needed a spiritual intervention. Stay with me. Breathe. The exhaustion you feel is real, but it is not a signal to quit. Do not let go until you hear exactly what heaven is preparing for you. You have been operating under a terrifying illusion. Society, worldly logic, and your own deeply exhausted mind have been relentlessly whispering a narrative that you have blindly accepted as truth. They tell you that when a connection becomes this grueling, it simply means it was not meant to be. They tell you that love and true alignment should flow without friction, that peace means the absence of conflict, and that the sheer, suffocating pain you are feeling right now is the universe's way of telling you to finally close the door. I need you to completely shatter that worldly logic this very instant. What you are experiencing is not a failure of compatibility. It is a highly coordinated, strategic spiritual attack. The enemy is absolutely terrified of what you and this person are capable of building together. Because he cannot destroy what God has ordained, he attacks you indirectly. He plants insidious thoughts in your mind, thoughts that sound perfectly rational, dressed up in the modern language of self-care, boundaries, and knowing your worth to trick you into self-sabotaging the very miracle you have been desperately praying for. Every single time you think, I deserve better than this confusion, or, if they cared, they would have reached out by now, recognize the hiss of the serpent. It is pure psychological warfare designed to make you drop your sword just before the trumpets of victory sound. You must awaken to this profound truth. What you share with this person was never just a casual relationship. It was never a random collision of two paths in a chaotic universe. It is a sacred, unyielding assignment. Long before you took your first breath, God drew a divine blueprint in the heavens, deliberately intertwining your timeline with theirs. You were brought together for a monumental kingdom purpose that goes far beyond human romance or fleeting companionship. There is generational trauma meant to be shattered through your union. There is a specific light, a unique frequency of healing and restoration that can only be ignited when the two of you stand united as one front. Why do you think the magnetic pull back to them is so impossible to explain to anyone else? Why does all human logic completely fail and crumble when you try to dissect your feelings for them? Because your spirit intimately recognizes the divine assignment, even when your flesh is screaming in confusion and agony. You were hand-selected for this specific mission. To walk away now is to reject the exact calling heaven trusted you to fulfill. Now, let us address the agonizing silence and the painful, stretching distance that is currently choking the life out of you. Visual cue. The scene darkens, isolating the viewer. You look at the lack of communication, the coldness, the literal void between you, and you immediately see absence. You see rejection. You see abandonment. But heaven sees preparation. Silence in the spiritual realm is never a grave, it is an incubator. The intense adversity you are facing right now, the explosive misunderstandings that manifest out of thin air, the bizarre obstacles that defy explanation, the overwhelming, heavy urge to just run away and hide. These are not red flags. They are the ultimate proof of the connection's immense, world-shifting power. The enemy does not waste heavy artillery on an empty fortress. He does not deploy his strongest forces against weak, insignificant bonds. He only sends this level of demonic resistance when he recognizes a massive threat to his kingdom. The sheer intensity of your current struggle is the exact measurement of the glorious purpose this connection carries. You are in the seed season. Beneath the frozen, silent soil of your current reality, deep roots are pushing through solid rock, anchoring in the dark, preparing for a harvest that will leave the world breathless. Close your eyes and see what the spiritual realm sees right now. I was pulled into a vision regarding your exact situation. I did not see two people casually drifting apart in modern life. I saw a massive, war-torn battlefield. The sky was black with relentless opposition, the air thick with the enemy's flaming arrows, and right in the very center of the carnage, completely surrounded by darkness, I saw the two of you. You were standing back to back. Your armor was dented, you were bruised, covered in the dust of the fight, but you were holding the line. You were protecting each other's blind spots when the other could not see. But then, I saw you begin to lower your weapon. I saw the sheer, soul-crushing exhaustion wash over your face as you looked at the surrounding darkness and thought, I cannot do this anymore. In that exact fraction of a second, the voice of the Almighty thundered across the battlefield, shaking the very foundations of the earth. Tell them to hold the line. If you step away from their back now, you leave them entirely exposed to the darkness, and you completely abandon the exact position God placed you in to win this war. You are fighting for their soul just as much as your own. The darkness is swarming violently, precisely because the dawn is about to violently break over the horizon. Do not surrender your assignment. Stand your ground. The first warning you must brand into your spirit right now is this. The enemy does not waste heavy artillery on an empty fortress. He does not expend his dark energy on connections that hold no spiritual significance. I need you to look at the absolute chaos that has surrounded this relationship. Look at the unexplainable misunderstandings that ignite out of nowhere. Look at the sudden, suffocating waves of doubt, the bizarre external interferences, and the sheer, exhausting weight of the emotional turbulence you have been navigating. You have been viewing this relentless friction as a sign that the universe is rejecting your union. You have been told that, if it's meant to be, it will be easy. That is the greatest lie ever sold to modern humanity. Divine assignments are never easy, they are fiercely contested. A thief does not break into an empty house. A thief only targets a vault that contains immeasurable wealth. The enemy has recognized the divine blueprint of this connection long before you fully understood it. He saw the exact frequency of light, the generational healing, and the kingdom impact that will be unleashed when the two of you fully align, and he is terrified. He is launching these strategic, calculated attacks against your bond because your connection is a massive threat to his kingdom of darkness. The sheer intensity of the pain and resistance you are facing is not a red flag. It is the ultimate spiritual validation. It is the exact measurement of how valuable this connection is in the eyes of heaven. If this were just an ordinary, casual relationship, the enemy would entirely ignore it. He would let you live in mediocre peace. But the moment God ordained this union, a target was placed on your backs. Every argument that made no sense, every moment of sudden icy distance, every time you felt an overwhelming urge to just run away that was not your intuition speaking. That was a coordinated demonic assault, designed to make you voluntarily abandon the very miracle that is meant to elevate your life. You are judging the health of your connection by the amount of warfare surrounding it, and that is a fatal mistake. The battle is raging precisely because you are holding something priceless. Do not let the thief convince you to throw away your treasure just because the vault is under attack. The second warning addresses the very thing that is breaking your heart the most, the silence. You are staring at a phone that does not ring. You are looking at texts left unread, at physical distance, at a wall of cold, impenetrable silence that makes you feel entirely forgotten. Your human logic is screaming at you that this silence means they have moved on, that they do not care, and that the story is completely over. You must immediately stop interpreting spiritual incubation through the lens of human rejection. God says to you right now, "You have completely mistaken my silence for neglect, but I am doing my most profound work in the dark." In the spiritual realm, silence is never an ending. It is a necessary womb. Think of a seed planted in the earth. To the naked eye, the seed is buried. It looks dead. It is surrounded by darkness, isolation, and heavy, crushing dirt. If you dig that seed up prematurely just to check if it is still alive, you will kill the harvest. Right now, your connection is in the deep winter of the seed season. The surface looks entirely barren, but beneath the soil, out of your sight, a violent transformation is occurring. God is currently doing deep, surgical work in their heart and in yours. He is uprooting toxic coping mechanisms, dismantling walls of fear, and healing deep-seated traumas that would have otherwise destroyed your relationship if you had come together too soon. The silence is not a punishment. It is a protective boundary set by heaven. They are not ignoring you. They are being prepared for you. The distance is necessary because if God allowed you to merge in your current, unhealed states, the friction would burn the bridge permanently. The silence you hate is actually the grace that is saving your future. When the master builder is laying the deepest foundations of a skyscraper, the work is done entirely underground. You cannot see the progress, but it is the most critical phase of the construction. Do not despise the silence. Do not interpret their quietness as a lack of love. Their soul is undergoing a massive spiritual renovation, and heaven requires absolute silence for this surgery. Hold your ground and let God finish his work in the dark. The third warning is the most deceptive trap of all. You believe your battle is with this person. You believe the conflict is between you and them. I am here to expose the true enemy. The greatest battlefield is not what is happening between the two of you. The greatest battlefield is strictly confined within the walls of your own mind. Because the enemy cannot legally destroy a connection that God has actively anointed, he must use a back door. He attacks you indirectly by hijacking your thoughts. He is a master of psychological warfare. He does not appear with horns and a pitchfork. He appears as your own internal monologue. He plants seeds of deep paranoia, disguising them as self-protection and logic. He whispers to you late at night, "They are laughing at you. They have found someone else. You are making a fool of yourself." If they truly loved you, this wouldn't be so hard. You need to protect your energy and walk away. He takes a minor misunderstanding and places it under a magnifying glass until it looks like an insurmountable betrayal. He resurrects your old childhood wounds, your past relationship traumas, and projects them onto this person, making you believe that history is repeating itself. You are not fighting your partner. You are fighting the terrifying illusions that the enemy has projected onto the walls of your mind. God is commanding you to take every single thought captive right now. You must recognize that the overwhelming urge to flee, the sudden spike of anxiety, the absolute conviction that it is over, is a foreign frequency being broadcast into your head. The enemy knows that if he can corrupt your perception, he can control your ultimate decision. If he can make you believe the connection is dead, you will act as if it is dead, and you will sever the cord yourself, doing his dirty work for him. You must become ruthless with your own thoughts. When the whisper tells you to give up, you must recognize it as the hiss of the serpent and cast it out. Your mind is under siege. Do not surrender the territory of your thoughts to the father of lies. The fourth warning is a declaration of divine sovereignty. You have been looking at this current, painful chapter and falsely concluding that it is the end of the book. You are reading a story of temporary separation and deciding that the author has simply stopped writing. Hear this clearly. God does not abandon his masterpieces halfway through. The creator of the universe does not make mistakes in his divine pairings, and he does not start a work of this magnitude only to discard it when the characters face a plot twist. This connection was not your idea. It was not born out of a random swipe on a screen or a coincidental meeting in a crowded room. It was meticulously designed, approved, and stamped by heaven long before the foundations of the earth were laid. God wove this specific soul into the fabric of your destiny because he knew that the two of you, together, would accomplish something that neither of you could ever do apart. Do you truly believe that the God who parted the Red Sea, the God who orchestrates the collision of galaxies, brought you this far just to leave you broken, confused, and empty-handed? Do you think he gave you this profound, undeniable, soul-shaking recognition of this person just to torture you? Absolutely not. The pain you are feeling is not the pain of a tragic ending. It is the severe pain of a spiritual birth. You are in the messy, chaotic, agonizing transition phase right before the miracle breaches the surface. What God starts, he completes with absolute perfection. He already wrote the final chapter of this connection, and it ends in total victory, restoration, and unbreakable union. The only variable, the only risk in this equation is your free will. Will you stay in the seat long enough for the curtain to rise on the next act? Or will you walk out of the theater right before the greatest scene of your life unfolds? God is still writing. The pen has never left his hand. Do not close the book just because you are currently surviving a difficult chapter. The fifth and final warning of this sequence is the most urgent because time is rapidly running out. If you walk away now, you are not just walking away from a person. You are walking away on the absolute edge of your monumental breakthrough. There is a spiritual law that the darkest, most terrifying, and most exhausting part of the trial always occurs mere moments before the deliverance. The enemy's attacks are currently at an all-time high, the pressure is crushing, the exhaustion is suffocating, and the urge to quit is screaming in your veins for one specific reason. The enemy can see the spiritual timeline. He knows exactly how close you are to the finish line. He knows that within a matter of days, the veil is going to lift. He knows that the exact shift you have been crying and praying for is already descending from the heavens. He is violently throwing everything he has at you in a desperate final push to make you quit one step before the finish line. Imagine a miner striking the rock for years, his hands bleeding, his body broken. He strikes the wall one last time, hears nothing but a dull thud, drops his pickaxe, and walks away forever. But if he had taken just one more swing, just one, the entire wall would have collapsed to reveal a cavern of solid gold. That is exactly where you are standing right now. You are 1 inch from the gold. If you give up tonight, if you send that final text of closure, if you block them and harden your heart, you will abort the miracle in the final trimester. You will hand the enemy the greatest victory of his existence, and you will spend the rest of your life haunted by a quiet, gnawing intuition that you walked away too soon. God is screaming from the heavens, "Hold the line, just a little longer." The reinforcements are cresting the hill. The dawn is actively breaking. The shift is imminent. Do not dare to lay down your sword when the crown of victory is already hovering over your head. Hear the absolute decree of heaven regarding the timeline of your deliverance. The exhausting season of endless waiting, of agonizing ambiguity, and of suffocating silence is rapidly drawing to a definitive close. The spiritual gears have already shifted, and what was locked in the heavenly realm is now accelerating aggressively toward your physical reality. God does not operate in perpetual delay. He operates in divine exactness, and the hour of your vindication has been struck on heaven's clock. I am releasing a specific, prophetic timeline over your life right now. Anchor your spirit to this, mark it in your mind, and watch the atmosphere change. Within the next 21 days, the impenetrable wall of silence, distance, and confusion that has stubbornly surrounded this connection will violently crack. The heavy, oppressive energy that has made you feel like you are walking through thick mud will suddenly lift. You will physically feel a massive shift in the spiritual atmosphere, a sudden, unexplainable lightness in your chest, an overwhelming wave of divine peace replacing your relentless anxiety. But God is giving you an even more immediate anchor to hold on to. Within the next 72 hours, you are going to receive a highly specific, undeniable confirmation that heaven is actively fighting for this bond. It will completely defy human logic. It might be a sudden, unexpected communication, an impossible synchronicity, a deeply vivid prophetic dream, or a moment of absolute, crystal-clear revelation that strikes your spirit like lightning. When it happens, you will feel the resonance in your very bones. That is heaven's signature. That is your absolute proof that God is aggressively moving the pieces behind the scenes. However, I must issue one final, critical, preemptive warning to protect your destiny. Because your breakthrough is this imminent, the enemy is in a state of sheer panic. He knows his time to destroy this is officially up. Therefore, you must expect one final, aggressive push from the darkness just before the dawn fully breaks. Sometime in the coming days, something may manifest that looks exactly like a legitimate reason to finally give up. It might be a fleeting moment of sharp emotional pain, a sudden trigger, or a violent, suffocating surge of fear attempting to hijack your mind one last time. Do not fall for the illusion. Do not flinch. Do not retreat a single inch. This is merely the enemy's final, pathetic attempt to create a mirage of total defeat right on the very border of your promised land. It is the last, dying breath of the storm before the skies completely clear. When this moment of friction arises, you must recognize it for what it is and stand unbroken. That very friction is your ultimate confirmation that the grand shift is right at your door. The victory has already been secured in the heavenly realm. The decree has been permanently sealed. The angels assigned to your union have already drawn their flaming swords and are currently driving back every force of separation. Your only job now is to hold the line. Stand in absolute, unshakable authority, knowing that the Creator of the universe is fiercely protecting what He has joined together. The painful season of weeping is over, the dawn is breaking, the victory is already yours. The revelation has been completely delivered, the timeline has been set, the warnings have been laid out before you in absolute clarity. But in the spiritual realm, a prophecy requires your active participation. Faith without a physical manifestation is entirely dead. Heaven has just extended its hand, and now you must physically reach back and seal this divine covenant. You cannot passively consume this message and expect the mountains in your life to move. You must violently claim your victory right now. This is not a request for social media engagement. This is a strict spiritual protocol. You must translate the fire that is currently burning in your spirit into a physical declaration of war against the enemy's plans. Complete these 4 steps right now to lock in your deliverance. Step 1. The declaration of war. Comment. First, I need you to go into the comments below immediately. You are going to type a specific decree. I will not yield, or I will hold on. Do not merely think it in your head. Do not just whisper it to the room. Type it out. There is profound, undeniable power in the physical act of writing your vow. When your fingers press those keys, you are not just leaving a comment on a video. You are signing a spiritual contract in the heavenly realms. You are putting the kingdom of darkness on official notice that their manipulation has failed. You are letting the angels assigned to your relationship see your unbreakable resolve. Let every other warrior who comes to this space look at your words and know they are not fighting alone in the trenches. Type your decree right now. Let heaven record your vow. Step 2. The energetic seal. Like next, you must press the like button on this video. Do not hesitate. This has absolutely nothing to do with vanity metrics or algorithms. This is about acknowledging the receipt of a divine transmission. When you press that button, it is the equivalent of shouting Amen across the spiritual battlefield. It is your physical, energetic seal of agreement with the prophecy that has just been spoken over your life. You are telling God, I heard the warning, I received the instruction, and I am locking this truth into my spirit. Seal the message right now. Do not leave this page without leaving your energetic mark of absolute acceptance. Step 3. The spiritual reinforcement. Subscribe. Third, you must subscribe to this channel and immediately turn on every single notification. Listen to me very carefully. The enemy is going to try to isolate you in the coming days as he makes his final, desperate push. When that wave of doubt hits, you will need immediate spiritual reinforcement. Heaven will continue to send you critical updates, precise instructions, and the exact weapons you need for the final stretch of this battle through this channel. If you walk away without subscribing, you are willingly walking back onto the battlefield completely deaf and cut off from your supply line. Do not isolate yourself. Secure your spiritual fortress right now. Subscribe, activate the bell, and ensure that when the next divine strategy is released, you are the very first to receive it. Step 4. The rescue mission. Share. Finally, you have a solemn, urgent duty. You must share this video right now. You were brought here to be saved from the catastrophic mistake of giving up, but you are not the only one drowning in deception. There is someone in your life, a friend, a family member, or perhaps someone whose face just popped into your mind this exact second, who is standing on the ledge, ready to abandon their own divine assignment. The enemy is lying to them just like he lied to you. God is asking you to be the vessel of their rescue. Send this message to them immediately. Send it in a text. Share it on your page. Get it into their hands by any means necessary. Your obedience in sharing this could be the exact intervention that saves their destiny from total collapse. Chosen one, the ritual is complete. Your vow is permanently recorded in the archives of heaven. The enemy's illusions have been shattered, and your target is firmly locked. You arrived here battered, exhausted, and ready to drop your sword. You are leaving as an awakened warrior, fully armored, and backed by the absolute authority of the divine. Do not flinch, do not retreat, do not dare to give up. The dawn is here, the victory is yours. Go in unshakable strength.